everyone, I'm Danielle K. Grant, and you've seen me here on the Principles and Promises of God right here on NECTN. But guess what? I have a brand new talk show coming out called The Truth, and I partner with 4 amazing women to join me on this journey. And together, we're going to demo the walls of taboo subjects that concerns women and women in particular in the church. And we're going to reconstruct them with wholesome conversation that will bring forth healing and wellness. Ladies, get your tissues because you're going to cry with us. You're going to laugh with us. Get your girlfriends and come with us for the ride. I want to tell you something. Season 2 here on NECTN is about to be lit. I can't wait to see you. Welcome to The Truth! I am so excited. On this platform, we endeavor to create transformation, foster healing, empower, give women a voice in marriage, singleness, ministry, relationship, and the list goes on. Ladies, you are not alone. We're going to insert our own personal challenges and victories. Alongside me for this amazing journey is Tiffany Michelle of the #Wholeness Podcast.
Hey everyone.
And Letitia Etienne of tscribesblog.spot.
Welcome.
And Nikita J with Nikita.
Hey y'all, hey.
Angelina Serrano of Her Heal Hearts.
Hi ladies.
And I'm your host, Danielle K. Grant of Trajectory, A Journey to Transformation. You may have also seen me on the Principles and Promises of God here on NECTN. And you can also find me on That's All Devotional on Facebook. Ladies, let's start our conversation.
Ladies, let's just address the elephant in the room. Let's talk about COVID. Let's get it out the way. How have we all dealt with this pandemic? I'm curious.
Ooh. You know what? We are slowly emerging out of the pandemic, but I want to tell you, it has been one of those ups and down kind of situation. There are times when I was excited, and there are times when I was definitely frustrated.
Yeah, I can agree. I think that at least for me, like everything changed. Like my room became like my office. My basement became my gym. It was difficult because I'm so used to being out and about and out in the town, and it kind of like sent me back. And it was just a weird transition, and there was a lot of periods that kind of felt really empowering, like I'm gonna just conquer the world and I'm gonna, make videos and things. And then there's other moments that, that felt really dark and really lonely.
Right. Let's talk about being a single parent. Kudos to you out there, because I guarantee you it was tough having 2 daughters, trying to juggle working from home, trying to juggle teaching the girls stuff that I have no idea what they were learning, by the way, because this whole new math, I was like, Google the answer.
Here's a calculator.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
That was definitely tough for sure. But it was over, right? Because school is done, so.
Yeah, thankfully. Thankfully.
And just speaking of, with the children, I have my 2 children who are older, and my job was twofold because I had to be on Google Classrooms and Zoom, and I'm a little bit zoomed out. But then I was also trying to help my daughter with her Google Classroom as well, and trying to meet those demands from the teachers. And then I kind of felt like, well, I'm doing the same thing to somebody else. And so that became a little bit challenging. And there are times when I had to really step back and to find myself and to just think about, Danielle, what do you want to do during this time?
Right.
But what about social distancing?
What is social distancing, by the way?
Does it exist anymore? No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yes, we are still social
Right.
distancing. Yes, we are. I would have to say, like, being an introvert, social distancing was very easy for me. It was comfortable, but, after about 3 months, you're kind of like, okay, I need to do something a little different. I need to get out. So the challenge was to be able to sort of go out and, you know, follow the rules, but still, you know, get that exercise, get that fresh air.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I've been enjoying this way too much.
Tiffany.
Like, I am an introvert as well, and I am a natural homebody, so canceling every single plan was fantastic. I am usually so busy. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always so busy. And this break has really been what I needed. So I've enjoyed every single second. I'm like, let's keep it going. Just kidding.
No, I truly like, I miss the interactions.
Yes,
like I live for that stuff. So yes, it was nice in the beginning because it was like, okay, my life is so fast and I get to slow down a little bit, but I really, really thrive. And what's funny is that, you know, we need a balance of both.
Yes.
We need alone time,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
we also need time with other people.
Right. Right.
So I think this really reinforced that.
Right.
Right.
I know for me, and I'm going to say it, and you guys are going to tell me that. Daniel, you are lying, but I'm also an introvert.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
I really am an
believe it.
introvert.
I
I become
believe it.
extroverted when I really need to. But I was having the frustration came when I was really trying to be alone with myself.
Right.
And I love my children to death. But at the same time, I was home primarily by myself because my husband was working a lot during this whole time. And so there are times when I felt like a single mom and just having to navigate, you know, the whole thing, you know, every day. Mommy, when is breakfast ready? Mommy, when is lunch ready? Mommy, when is dinner ready? And I remember there was a time when I really looked at the clock and I got up around after 8 because, you know, you have to clean up the house and everything like that. And I realized it was 3 o'clock and I had not sit down.
Wow.
I was literally just on the go. And I remember speaking to my husband because I know for during this time, marriages came under attack. But I purposed in myself that I didn't want my marriage to come under the weight of the moment. And so I had to learn to communicate with my husband and said, you know what, I need some time.
Right.
And then he was so gracious to say, you know what, when I come in the evenings, you take your time. And so that's when I went on my prayer walks. That's when I just walked and I took my time.
Right. You got lost.
I got lost.
Yes.
Right. Got lost.
Where's mommy?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I got lost. So it was really a journey during this whole pandemic. But you know what? God is so good.
Yes,
In
He is.
spite
Right.
of everything, the chaos and the confusion that was happening, He allowed us to walk through some open doors.
Absolutely.
Let's
Yes.
talk about the open doors that God has created.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, well, for me, you know,
Talk about it.
for me, thanks,
Yes.
Angie. I've decided to start a YouTube channel, and I have to be honest, I was super nervous because I'm like,
Yes.
I am not one to be in front of cameras. So that was the first thing, and then I mean, there's the obvious, this
Yeah.
huge opportunity. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, Jesus, you opening doors, I'm walking through. You know, I don't know where I'm going, but that's okay. I guess
Right.
that's being faithful, right? It's
Right.
having
Right.
faith.
Right.
So I'm
So good.
walking through them. Just
Right.
walking through.
Walking through them. Yes, for sure. I know for me, I was already doing the That's All devotionals, and God just kind of said, I want you in this moment. I want you in this season. And so I had to begin to carve out the time with the children. If you saw some of my earlier episode, I was outside in the backyard because I didn't want the noise. And so I wanted to focus. And so I would have to, you know, bribe them a little bit. If you stay in for half an hour, you'll get a candy or you'll get to watch your
And they'll
favorite.
remember.
You
They
get to watch
remember.
your favorite TV show.
Right.
And so I had to carve out that time, and I just began to do the devotionals. And then when, you know, things started to dwindle down a little bit, I said, God, what's next? What is next? And I remember I was praying and I said, God, there must be more than this. You've made some promises. There must be more than this. And I remember after saying that prayer, then the following week, he kind of works just like this. The following week, I get a call for this amazing opportunity to be on
Right.
NECTN with my pastor, by the way, to have devotion. And I want to say that sometimes God is preparing you
Right.
in the dark moments,
Right.
that you don't see the preparation.
Right.
But
That's
if I wasn't just being obedient to Him and just doing those devotional, even though it wasn't like everything that I wanted it to be, I wouldn't rise to the occasion to be on the network to do the devotion with my pastor. And I've just seen how God elevated me during that process. And then the next day, I came in the Monday, and the Tuesday, the owner of the studio said, "Hey, I want you to create a talk show." And I was like, in my head, I didn't say anything to him. In my mind, I said, "Me?" But he had not read my journals. He had no idea who I was and what my dreams were. And then this amazing opportunity arose, and here we are. And I couldn't think of being on this journey with nobody else than you beautiful, gorgeous ladies.
Yes.
Thank you. Camera one, please.
It's just been amazing. It's just been amazing, everything that God has done in this season. So even the dark time, God has a plan for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I would definitely have to say that this is so not me. But you know, it's you're coming into the pandemic, I guess, in March. You know, sometimes God is preparing you.
Right.
So what the downtime allowed me to do was really sort of focus on quiet time with God. You know, you're putting everything on pause, or everything has been put on pause for you.
For you.
So you're just kind of getting into your word, you know, spending, you know, time in prayer, whether it's, you know, cleaning up the house, just being very intentional and purposeful about how you dialogue with God.
Yeah. And I kind of want to point out something, because, you know, when we speak about that, we know that that's what we need to do.
Right.
And
Yes.
it sounds like really like the good thing to do, but how do we get to that place where we find peace in that? Because I think a lot of people, although they had the initiative that they wanted to, like, you know, thrive in that business or pour into that ministry or spend time with God or whatever the case may be, they found themselves really struggling with loneliness. You know, like loneliness is really real, and there's a lot of different circumstances that people are facing that seasons like this where you can't go anywhere, where you can't really, you know, quote unquote, be distracted by friends and family and outside recreation. What do you do to kind of come to terms with, like, this is the season that God has me in?
It's really a really interesting thought, because I think everyone has to, like, I think Tisha said it nicely, that you have to come to that place where you realize, you know what, I have to accept the season. And I think a lot of times we are trying to go ahead of ourselves as women. Sometimes we're trying to go ahead of ourselves. We have the things written down in our journals. You know, we have the phone calls with our friends of what we think the next step is. But we all have to come to the place where we own the season and say, God, what is it you're trying to do in this moment? And rather than let the loneliness, or sometimes, I mean, people are married and they felt lonely. But it's all about owning the season in whatever state that you're in, whether you're single or married, and just ask God to navigate that path. And then when you allow him into the circumstance, then he'll just kind of like push you to where you need to be. So it's all about owning the season that you're in, for sure.
Definitely. Acknowledge it and grow where you can grow. It's an opportunity to grow. It's real easy to sort of, you know, I don't know what's going on, you know, I'm confused, I don't understand, and the tendency is to sort of, you know, stay in your corner and not do anything. But it's a great time to just come out of your shell, try something new, do something different. So that's what this time has been.
There's a quote that I like that says, "You know what's worse than waiting? Wishing you had." Snap it up. And that applies to everything. It was used in a relationship sermon, but it applies to everything. Like, you never want to be in the place that you're like, man, I should have just waited, because this wasn't even worth it. You know, so we can just be still in that season and know that he's God in that season.
Absolutely.
Listen.
For real. I remember even before this moment, I wanted to push my plans ahead. I remember I called a particular person and said, "Hey, I'm just gonna create a scene. You're just gonna come. You're gonna video me, and literally, and I'm just gonna go for it." And I remember,
Come to my house right now.
Yes.
I'm going to create a scene.
we're gonna create a scene and we're gonna do this. And I remember
All the kids in the back.
It wasn't even thought of. I just felt like, I'm just going to do something.
Right.
We're in this moment. I'm going to
That's
do
true.
something.
Yeah.
And guess what? Nothing worked. He
Wow.
was calling me. I was calling him. And he was like, our time just wasn't flowing. And I just had to stop. And God had to check me. And I said, okay, God, I give up. I give up. And then everything became full circle. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's been an interesting year.
Yes.
Tell us about it, Tiffany.
I know that I was planning on starting this podcast for a couple of years, the podcast that I have, the hashtag wholeness. And I was just kind of nervous about it because I'm like, there's certain things that you just don't want people to know.
Right,
Things
right,
that you need to
right,
be transparent
right,
about,
right.
that
Yeah.
you need to let out there. I remember telling my mother I was going to do it, and I heard her talking to her friends on the phone. My mother's West Indian, so she's like, she have this show where she's telling people all her business.
The island came out.
The internet. And I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand what this is.
Right,
And I
right.
remember putting the first episode out there and getting so much feedback. And I'm like,
Yes.
everybody knows.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just been great.
It was
just
good, yeah.
being transparent and being honest about what you're going through.
Right.
A lot of women don't do that. Like,
Right.
we keep it to ourselves,
Yep.
and we feel like we're the only ones that are going through anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When in reality, when you share it with somebody else, they're like, I've been there, and they
Right.
can help you through it.
Yeah.
So it's been a really interesting journey, and if I hadn't started that podcast, I wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
You wouldn't be
Exactly.
prepared.
I wouldn't be
to
prepared.
You wouldn't be
for it.
prepared.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember at the beginning of this year saying it's going to be a year of yes. I don't know if you guys have
Yes,
heard
I remember this.
Yes,
I remember this.
yes.
I remember, yeah.
I was like, it's going to be a year of yes. I'm just going to say yes to everything that scares me.
Yeah.
And then Danielle calls me and I'm like, can I call you back real quick?
Yes, yes.
I was like, I just got to call you back, okay?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. I was like, you said it's a year of
Yes.
yes. It's
Yeah.
a year of yes.
It's a year.
So
Right.
just go for it. So
Yeah.
I thank you, Danielle.
You're welcome.
And
God's
even
good.
like on Her Healed Heart, like it just started as a platform because
Mm-hmm.
based on conversations with like friends and women, I'm like, man, like there's some situations that we really would avoid if we were at a place that we were more emotionally secure, that we had a better stance on our mental health, just overall spiritual health, all of that. And I said, we have all these platforms and we post outfit of the day, we post everything.
Yes.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
we make
It's
it
true,
we make
it's
it
true.
our platform.
It's
So
true.
a lot of
It's
times we
true.
make it our platform.
Right.
True.
And I'm like, you know what, God, like I want to be able to impart that. Like I do this work, secularly, like therapy
Right.
and such. Why not integrate it with the basis of my life and
Right.
kind of create this arena for it? And it's scary, like you were saying, Tiffany, because you're like, what are people gonna think? Like,
Right.
here's a Facebook preacher, the Facebook emotional preacher,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
Another
yes.
one at that. But something about just saying yes to God,
Yeah.
it just shifts. It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
becomes something greater.
Yep. Yep. And ladies, you may be watching us and you're just wondering, how did we come here? How did we arrive here? We didn't just arrive here. We were literally catapulted here because we were in the waiting room. We were in the incubator, if you will, and we just said yes to God. And on this series, we just want to let you know that you are not alone. You can
right.
certainly be everything that God has called you to be.
Yes.
And we are not too far gone that we can reach our hands back and grab you.
Yep.
All right. Over to our next segment today, we're going to be honoring some of our incredible women who were on the front lines during this pandemic. They got up when most of us were sleeping, and they
Yes.
just gave it their all. And we want to honor some of them today. Obviously, we don't have everybody, but we want to say thank
Yes.
you.
Thank
You
you.
may not be on this slide, but thank you, the grocery worker, just
Yes.
whomever you are.
Yes.
Thank you, the teacher.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
The hospital worker. Thank you. The mother who had to become a teacher. Thank you for all that you have done. So enjoy our slide. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Truth. I'm going to take you over to our sweet segment with Mahalia, owner of Molly's Cake Cups. Enjoy. Welcome to The Truth. Today we have our sweet segment with Mahalia Lowndes. And she is from Molly's Cake Cups. Welcome, Mahalia, to The Truth.
Thank you for having me.
So, Mahalia, we love Molly's Cake Cups. Can you tell us a little bit about the process to start this business?
Yes, so this business actually began from a tender age. When I was 14 years old, I wanted to originally be a dentist. And I remember when I came to the Lord, he told me that he does not want me to be a dentist. He wants me in the kitchen. So it was definitely the Lord's plan for me to get into this industry. When I was younger, I didn't really understand, but as I grew, I started to develop a desire and a passion to be in the kitchen and for baking. When I went to high school, I took a class called Home Economics, where I actually decorated cakes and baked different products, and that really birthed my passion for baking. Fast forward, I ended up going to university at Johnson & Wales, and I studied my associates in baking and pastry arts, and so we are now here, and I do custom cakes, cupcakes, and cake jars.
Wow.
And I've had your cake cups, and I've had your cake. You've made things for my daughter, and even for my birthday the other day, and they were delicious. It was legit gone in like minutes. So tell us a little bit more of just, again, the process, and what encouragement would you give to somebody who is in your field, because you are definitely a trailblazer.
Definitely.
Right. I definitely would encourage anyone who's in my field to just focus on your goals, set those goals and go after them no matter what other people say, because in an industry like this, a lot of people will say, really, you're going to school for baking, or is this really what you want to do? But I would just encourage you to focus on the passion and go after those things that are within your heart. It's not about the money, but if you just go after the desires and the passions that God has given you, he will always provide. He will always make a way. He will always open the door. So I'll just encourage you to go after those things and focus on your journey and not look to the right or to the left.
I like what you just said. Focus on the passion and not the money. That will follow suit. I can't wait to get into this delicious cake, by the way. Could you tell us a little bit about the presentation, exactly what cake this is? Because we're going to have this afterwards. Tell us a little bit more about this presentation today.
Absolutely. So this is a chocolate and vanilla buttercream cake. I was going after like a bridal shower kind of design. This is a design that you could present to a bridal shower or a wedding shower. The only thing that's missing is a little topper that says, about to get married or something like that. But this cake has buttercream, gold leaves, and I made it with fresh flowers.
Nice.
And they're pink roses.
My favorite colors.
Right. And so, can't wait for you guys to taste it and let me know your reviews.
Awesome.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't wait either. And so, why don't you
Cut right into
the
it.
cake, and then we're going to have this afterwards. Awesome.
Mahalia, this is amazing.
This is super delicious. A job well done, girl.
So you make cakes for all occasions?
Right. Yes, I make cakes for weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, baby showers, and even if you just have a sweet tooth, you can have one of my cake jars.
And I've had your cake jars. The strawberry is my favorite.
Yes, they come in 7 different flavors and 2 different sizes. I have the small and the large as presented here, and you can follow us at Molly's_Cake Cups JA on Instagram if you want to place an order. The website launch is coming soon, and you can also follow us on Facebook at Molly's Cake Cups.
Awesome. I'm going to finish my cake. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Truth. We want to take a moment to acknowledge the pain, anger, and frustration of the Black community. To our beautiful Black brothers and sisters, we see you, we hear you, and we stand with you. The word of God tells us in Matthew 20, verse 16, that the first shall be last and the last shall be first.
Change begins in your thoughts, it affects your speech, and it navigates your action. My mantra has been how you think and speak direct your feet. I want us to move from motivation to transformation. With motivation, we cry, we get goosebumps, we get those waves of emotion into our body. But that's not enough. We need to be catapulted to change. And that's what transformation is. It takes work. It takes diligence. It takes sometimes creativity. And it sometimes takes you going to God and asking God, what next do I need to do? And in the world that we're living right now, in the upheaval that is happening, we need change. And right now, you might be the change someone is looking for. Until next time, this has been The Truth.
Bye.